According to me, marketing is a process to reach out to the right consumer through a right medium with the right message. I want a work life balance and I would urge for a work life balance for each and everyone. But at the start of your career, it's the time to learn. You would not know how a thing would come back to you later because that's what people want. People want cheaper loan quickly. While credit score is an old concept in the country, it was not free till 2015. We are the first one in India to launch free credit score. Humor had been at the core of all our campaigns, but we do realize that humor is subjective. But emotional storytelling, it cuts across. Always keep consumer at the core. Think how would you react if you are that consumer.
Hey there, welcome to Marketing Mavericks with Indiefolio. Today we have Sachin with us, who is the Chief Marketing Officer at Paisabazaar. Sachin's got an incredible journey where he started off doing BTech and then transitioned into a marketeer and now is a marketing leader. We unpack how that happened in his journey and understand advice for people who want to start up their own creative or digital marketing setups, evolving from one profession to the other, and also joining a hyper growth company and being with them and seeing it grow over the years. Thanks a lot for your time, Sachin, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Kavan. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
We finally are doing this, and thank you for giving me your time on working day. I know it's chaos as usual, but I really appreciate your time. Sachin, you had a very, interesting career spanning many things, and we'll unpack that. But the first thing I wanted to ask you is, how did you get started in marketing? Because I believe you did BTech after 12th standard.
I think doing a BTech was a norm, right? You if you were a science student, you had to do either BTech or you MBBS. If you have not done any of these two, then parents very disappointingly ask you to do to explore other careers, right? It was like that. I was good in numbers. I used to love physics and mathematics, so engineering was a natural choice for me. But the transition from engineering to marketing, it was not deliberate, I would say, or there was not a particular moment where I can, pinpoint and say that this is the moment when I decided going for marketing. I liked many things. Was in robotics during my college and Google web pages and all of these things. They were at a very early stage at that time, especially in India. We had dial-up connection. During that time, I probably say the only utilization for college internet was to play Age of Empires or Counter Strike. So those were the days, but I have seen Google's algorithm, getting evolved what it is today. Earlier, it was you just used to stuff keywords in a page, and that page used to rank. So we worked on few web portals also during our college days, few freelancing projects. While I was not very good in coding, but I was good in writing. I used to write content for those pages, and then after writing content, I used to chase Google for ranking those pages on the search. So all of these things were happening while I was completing my engineering. After engineering, I got placed, worked, and I was in a telecommunication engineering, right? So worked as a telecom engineer for 2 years. Then I realized that maybe I like not marketing particularly, but I like business more, basically creating and selling something. I believe that was the genesis of it. So I quit that job, and four of us, we started a company. We started as basic as creating new websites for clients. Tried identifying cohorts like free websites for advocates or doctors, where we could get a lot of work and then we can figure out what else can we make. Did it for a few months. There was a financial setback. Was working for a client. Basically, he was a broker and he promised us some project. We were working on that project. We were naive enough to not take much of an advance. We completed that project, passed on that project on the pen drive, never saw that guy again. So good experience, 7 8 months. I wrote my gate examination at that time. I cleared the gate examination and I was in parallel writing the cat also. So was quite confused whether I should go for an MBA or an MTech. or keep on pursuing this project which we started. I decided that okay, it's better if I complete an MBA. That would help me in becoming more successful in business or in business related fields. So that was it. I completed my MBA, ditched a Maruti ancillary for a job and joined a startup. Worked there for a few months. Basically, I would want to keep it out of the scope of this podcast. I would tell you separately what happened there. But after 7 8 months, I quit, joined Rathi Steels. There, I was in sales. I was selling steel to government organizations. Worked there for a couple of years, then quit that again. Started out with a few friends, and then that failure transitioned into a digital agency. It was not a pre-planned thing to start a digital agency. In fact, when I quit Rati Steels, one of my friends, he was working on a gifting venture named as Country Flora. At that time, there was only FNP largely, which was in the market in flower delivery. So we launched Country Flora with a 4-hour delivery guarantee across India. So there I worked in ops as well as marketing, a lot of things. I used to write content, working on search engine algorithm. How can we get it ranked higher? Working with florist, and it was kind of a drop shipping model. We scaled it up. Couldn't pursue it for longer because of internal clashes and internal issues. So I had to quit that. I was doing nothing. So why after quitting Country Floor, I was just sitting and exploring what should I do? Should I start something on my own? Should I go back to job?
And how old were you during that time?
I would be around 24. At that time, one of my friends, he was in Let's Buy core team. If you remember Let's Buy, Flipkart acquired Let's Buy, recommended me to a friend of his. He was a wildlife photographer, a wildlife enthusiast, had a couple of resorts in Ranthambore and Kanha and the other national parks, and he was searching for someone who could take care of the marketing piece for those resorts. So it was accidental. I met him. I met that gentleman. We clicked, started taking care of the marketing of these resorts, and from that project, I got another reference, and we built a team of a few people and started our own digital agency. So that's how it started. But if you go back a few years, CMOs used to come from creative backgrounds. So people
Hmm.
who had worked in advertising and then joined a brand and then got promoted
Correct.
to CMOs. I am one of those few, and I think the trend is changing now. But I am one of those few who have come from a digital background. Digital has changed a lot since then, and I believe you would appreciate that digital and engineering is not much different now, right? There are a lot of technologies.
I wanted to actually ask you a question on that, right? So today, when I speak to a lot of people who want to pursue marketing, they're very confused about what's the core skill of marketing. Is it
Hmm.
strategy and data and numbers, or is it creative, right? Because
Hmm.
traditionally people were thinking, yeah, you need to be creative, you need to know brand language and tonality, um, brand management, etc. But now the conversation is a lot about ROI, metrics and dynamic ads, and so many things which sometimes confuse a typically non-creative person. So
Yeah.
having done the entire drill, what would you say is marketing for an
So,
analytical brain or a
so
creative brain?
according to me, marketing is a process to reach out to the right consumer through a right medium with the right message. So these are the three, pieces of this entire puzzle. Or you can say then these are the three pillars, right? Now, if you are a creative guy, you would be good at, drafting the right communication, the interesting communication, understanding the consumer. But then you would need help of someone who is analytical enough to identify the right channel
Hmm.
and the right time, right? And that's what media planners used to do, right? Similarly, so digital has not changed anything. It has just, basically, uh, if I am putting it right, it has help marketers finding out the right channel, finding out the right consumer, reaching out to the right consumer with the right message using technology and data. Data is just helping you. if you take data out, right, you earlier we used to buy media taking the com score and the other research based outputs, and we used to pray that okay, this is what my consumer is watching, so I have to be there, right? That Now I might be reaching out to 100 people, and maybe 20 or 30 or 40 would be relevant for me, but I had to pay for the entire 100 people, right? Because I was using that platform to reach out to those 100 people. Now with the use of technology, I can probably identify those 40 people beforehand. So now, rather than identifying a channel to reach out to my audience, I am now identifying an audience, and then reaching out to that particular audience using different channels
Mhm.
wherever they are. So that could be search, that could be through social media, that could be some other properties which are available. So it has shifted from channel to audience now. uh, but creativity, consumer understanding, it is still at the core of it. Data would help you, but you know uh, now there are a lot of technologies. There are startups which are saying that we'll create your video in a Ziffy, we'll write an entire copy in a Ziffy, but still, if you do not have the right understanding of your consumer, and the product, and the coherence of it, uh, it may not be that useful, right? You have to understand that in greater details.
Well put. I think uh, the marketing job is definitely becoming more demanding, but at the
Yeah.
core of it, you have to have the curiosity and the creativity to communicate and understand and communicate to your audience at the
So
end of the day.
consumer is still at the core, right?
Correct, correct. So I think you
Because your
kind of
consumer is changing, the landscape is changing, that's why you have to change your marketing style, but
right.
uh, it's the same at the end of the day.
Correct, correct, absolutely. I want to now ask you about the earlier part of a marketing career, right?
Mhm.
Maybe your first stint or your first job, jo bhi hai. You've done everything possible, right? You've had your own company. You've worked on the supply side as the creative and the agency side. You've worked with a startup, and now you're leading a billion-dollar unicorn public company level kind of a company also. So, like, as per you, a young marketer should focus on doing what in the earlier stages of their career? What stream should I join?
It does not matter which stream you join, right? There are many ways people join agencies for media planning, right? They work hard, understand how media works, how planning works, right? And then from there on, and while they were working in the media, because the sub streams of marketing are so interconnected that you'll end up working with other people who are
Hmm.
working. So even if you are doing media planning, you'll be working with a creative guy, right? You will be working with the guy who is managing the digital channels. You will be working with a guy who is doing analytics.
Hmm.
You will be working with a guy who is writing copies, right? Who is writing content with a short form or long form or whatever, right? So it is so interdependent, because एक कहावत है ना हिंदी में, अकेला चना भार नहीं फोड़ सकता. So that's what it is, right? You have to, so each and every piece have to work in sync to you make it a successful campaign. So wherever you start, it does not matter. So I, when I go to these events and talk to people, people say that digital has taken over traditional. It's good to be in digital now, etc., etc. That's fine. That's your personal choice. If you feel that you have a flair of writing, you can start writing content. If you feel that you have the ability to convey a large message with minimum words, maybe copywriting is for you. If you feel that you are good at identifying places where to
Mhm.
show your ads, you would be good for media. If you think that you have a good understanding of numbers, because I've seen many creative people, they have a fear of numbers. Most of the time it is unnecessary, because they're not that difficult, but maybe I'm an engineer, that's why I feel so. But but if you feel that you are good with numbers, maybe analytics or digital are the things for you. So wherever you start, only suggestion would be the initial years would be very tough, in terms of you have to put in a lot of hard work, right? Never say no to anything, whatever is coming to you. Even if you are in media and somebody is asking you to write something, if you can write,
Hmm.
uh, never say no to anything. At least in the initial 4 5 years of your career, it will help you big time later on in your career journey. Yeah.
You have worked across many sectors. Steel, you mentioned right now, hotels and resorts. I'm sure there are a lot more when you were running your agency that you've kind
Yeah.
of got your hands dirty with. Does anything specifically stand out for financial products in BFSI which you feel are different when compared to marketing other industries?
Two key difference, basically, which I have experienced. The first one is that in financial industries, be it insurance or banking or investment or whatever, right? Uh, there is a transaction. There's a real transaction of money, right? And when it comes to money, trust takes the center stage. It is more critical for a BFSI company to earn the trust of its consumer than, let's say, steel, right? So that is something which is very important, and which everyone who is working in a BFSI company needs to understand. Second thing is it's highly regulated, whether it's investment or lending or insurance. And because it's highly regulated, you just can't say whatever you want, right? You have to be very careful. You have to be very calculative, right? There's three. Sorry, I said two. The third part of it, specifically only to lending, right? Unlike any other industries, for example, if I talk about resorts, you want to go and stay in a particular resort. You want it, you can purchase it if you have money. Similarly, you want a specific kind of brand for steels. Let's say you want Jindal or Tata or Rathi or whatever. You have money, you can just go and pay for it and get it. So in all most of the industries, if you have the appetite to pay, and if you have the ability to pay, and if you want that particular brand or particular product, you can just go and purchase it.
Mm,
That doesn't happen in lending.
mm.
You are in market for a loan, you want a loan, you desperately want a loan, but you may or may not get it depending on the eligibility criteria, of a particular lender. Your credit score, your employment factors, place where you're living in. There are a lot of factors which decide your credit worthiness. So that is something which is very unique and very interesting about this industry, because here you just not go out and generate demand. You generate demand from relevant and eligible people. And because it's not something which you wear on your chest, it is a little difficult. So if you get 100 people, you realize that maybe 40 or 45 of those would be eligible for a loan. Rest, they are not.
अरे मुझे exactly बताओ what this is. And I always wonder, as somebody who's into marketing, advertising and branding, कि यार it's a regulated product, so there is a limited amount of communication you can do, or even product creation you can do in the first
Yeah.
place. So everybody does it.
Yeah.
So as a marketer, like, how do you get that customer pull? Ki, okay, these are the three insurance products or four banking products practically a lot of people offer. Why only me?
Insurance, and especially I'll not avoid insurance, because there you have a little scope of product creation.
Hmm,
For example, Aditya Birla, they created a beautiful health insurance product where if you'll walk more, you'll get higher discount next year when you're recharging. So there a little scope, I would say, is there in insurance. But when it comes to loan is a loan, right? I'll lend you money at a particular interest rate. That interest rate, for a bank A, let's say, is X. For bank B, it could be Y. For bank C, it could be Z, right?
correct.
That is the only difference. Money is money, right? Money is same. So loan is more of a commodity. uh, so how do we differentiate? So we do not differentiate in product, we differentiate in process and service. Right. So, like I mentioned, that probably ours is an industry where you would want a product, but you may not get it. And there's a high percentage of people who do not get loans from anywhere in the country, right? And that was the genesis. We wanted credit to be available and easy for each and everyone in this country, right? And that was the reason we started out. We wanted to democratize if I'll put it rightly, democratize credit, uh, right? Any kind of loan. And we partnered with all these banks and BFCs, fintechs to offer whatever products are available in the market at one place. Now, if I go back and tell you what was the process of applying for a loan, if you needed a loan, you either go to the bank directly, or you go to a DSA. You went to a DSA, right? You used to go to a DSA, and then you used to give all your documents and apply for a particular product. If you're not eligible and if you got rejected for that particular loan, then you go to a different one and apply for a different
Mm.
provider. But there is a catch here. Each time you apply and get rejected, your credit score goes down by a few points. So every time you're getting rejected, it's making your chances of getting a loan bleaker and bleaker, right? And that's why we launched this search engine, or I would say the eligibility engine, so that you can see all the offers where you are eligible for upfront, and then decide where you want to go. We are the first one in India to launch free credit score to our consumers.
Correct.
It was not free. While credit score is an old concept in the country, it was not free till 2015. CIBIL used to charge some amount, and you can go to CIBIL portal, or you can go to any bank, pay that amount, and check your credit score once every year or once every 6 months, kind of a thing. We made that product available for free for each and everyone. Now, if you go out and you see, there are probably 10 odd portals who would, you know, tell you that they are also offering free credit score, etc., etc., etc. But I can proudly say that our product is still the best, because A, we give free credit score from all four bureaus in the country. B, our credit score get refreshed every month. So you can come and check your credit score, whatever transaction you are doing during a particular month, it'll have an impact on your credit score. You can check that impact by logging into Paisabazaar and checking your updated credit score on a monthly basis. Again, that was a that was a step to basically making our consumers aware what is the importance of how critical the credit score is, why it is good to have a track of it, and then work towards making it better and better, and how a 750 above and 750 below, these two numbers can impact you.
I want to now talk about something again, an expertise you've built in your career, plus a lot of, people talk about the sheer amount of focus on just generally getting traffic to your website. You all have, right? And I've read many times, and even I had the pleasure to talk to Sai from Policy Bazaar and a lot of other people in that group, where, I think you have one of the best conversions and the best traffic out there, at least from what I hear. The last time I checked was about 25 million, right? Because a
It's
lot of
more than
people are
that now, yeah, around 40-45 million, yeah.
45 million. Wow. So it's like almost doubled since that data point I read. So it's constantly growing. um, what's the secret behind this, right? If you could kind of unpack, like, what are the right, what are the key activities you need to do to have an engine which ensures good website traffic year on year?
So whatever I am about to say, it's true for both brands, Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar. We have the similar philosophy,
Mhm.
right? When you start a new venture, right? Initially, you have to rely on paid sources. You have to pay Google, Meta, or other engines to get traffic to your website. Now that amount of traffic is finite, because there is a finite amount of budget you have. You cannot spend more than that. So you spend that, and you try to become more and more efficient in that budget, and try to get more and more people to your portal. And I believe everyone does that. We also did that in the beginning. But one thing which we knew and which we believed in is the power of organic and direct, right? That means the power of your own brand. And that's the reason why we worked very hard on these two things, building a brand in the market, so that people would come to us directly, people would know us, what we stood for, and whenever there was a need, they would come to Paisabazaar directly without going to a third party platform and then clicking an ad and coming to us. That was one thing. The other thing is the power of organic traffic, power of organic reach. While people are searching for something, our name should be there in that search, whether that search is happening on Google or Bing or any other search engine, right? So these are the two beliefs we had in the beginning. And just to give you the perspective, we Pesa Bazaar started in 2014, and within 2014 we did our first brand campaign. Usually startups wait, right? They spend that money on digital channels, acquiring more consumers, right? Because digital acquisition is a little cheaper. TV and other mass media channels, they are a bit more expensive, but they have a lasting effect on your brand. There is a tail effect, right? People would remember you for a longer time versus if they have seen you on a digital channel. That we have experienced, that I have personally experienced. So we did our first brand campaign. At the same time, we invested heavily on our content capabilities. So even in 2014, when we started out, we didn't wait. We didn't outsource our content or our SEO to an agency. We built an in-house team, and we started working bit by bit on strengthening our SEO, strengthening our organic capabilities, and both of these things, they helped. So people have
Superb.
started knowing us, what Pesa Bazaar is for. And the best campaign was in 2015 when we launched Credit Score. I still remember our site crashed when our ads, went up on air. Uh, Within first few minutes, the traffic spike was so high. We were not prepared for that. We had to stop the campaign momentarily. We had to, basically repair everything up, and then we went live again. But so we invested in building our brand and building our content. So the third, and which is the most important piece, is uh, while loan is a product which you do not buy on a daily basis. In terms of a personal loan, large ticket personal loan, you would probably take it once every 3 years if you are a credit hungry customers, or maybe 3-4 times in a lifetime, right? When there are key milestones happening in your life. For example, you are getting married, you would go for a personal loan.
Hmm.
You're going for a big trip, you'll go for a personal loan, something. So it's milestone related largely. Home loan, again, you may take home loan once or twice in your lifetime.
Right.
Similarly, for car loan, you may take a car loan once every 4-5 years, because you'll at least drive a car for 4-5 years largely. I'm not talking about outliers here, right? So loan is a product which is not frequent. As a brand, it is very difficult for me to anticipate when Kavan would buy a new car or Kavan would buy a new house, right?
Right.
So, but we did a fairly good job in this. So while we were investing in our brand, we were investing in our organic traffic, building our organic capabilities. The other thing we invested in is building a good cross-sell engine. People were coming to Pesa Bazaar thanks to our credit score campaign and our loan campaigns, and people were coming to Pesa Bazaar. They were giving their details. They were registering for loan, inquiring for loans. Right? We were capturing all those details. Now we realize that either we can stay dependent on these third-party platforms like Google Meta for fresh acquisition, or we can take a shot at predicting when our consumers would need a second product
Hmm.
and then pitch to them. And because of course, obviously, the cross sell and converting our own consumer would be far more easier, right? Far more easier and quicker than going out and getting new acquisition. So we built a good team, and a cross sell engine, and it has started yielding decent results. So now, as we speak, around 50% of our revenue comes from cross sell.
Wow.
The remaining 50%, out of the remaining 50%, roughly 38 to 40% comes from direct and organic and our brand. So cumulatively, for 90% of our revenue, we are not dependent on anyone. The rest 10% we get from advertising on other third party platforms.
Because you work with so many freelancers, so many agency founders, we Indiefolio's model is we're a network which represents these people for brands. And on
True.
behalf of them, I'd love to ask you, what really separates a great agency from a good agency according to you?
Basically, I would say it is the understanding of the business, right? If you understand a particular business, a particular industry to the core, you understand the nuances, the consumer needs, apparent consumer needs, latent consumer needs, right? If you understand those needs, and if you can work with the core team to solve those needs, or at least communicate the right characteristics of the product, that is, I think, a very under valued skill. Because you will have people in agencies who are creative mavericks, who can create amazing quality of work, amazing writing, everything is good. But if that connect is not there, if that understanding is not there,
Hmm.
it is difficult,
Mhm.
right? So the brand team and the agency team, they should be on the same page.
Right.
They should work on the same creative frequency,
Right.
right? If you are here and I am here, then it would be difficult. The output would not be great, I would say, even though individually both of us are great people, but the output may not be great. So I think that is something uh, which I value more. uh, if you understand my industry well, if you understand what is happening in the industry, both from the supply side and the demand side, how things are panning out, so I would appreciate that. I'll value that.
It's an advice which uh, is so true, because if you're not able to really understand the client's priorities and talk their language,
Yeah,
just simply being creative is not valuable.
yeah, yeah,
Anybody can be creative, right? But your creativity has to work at the end of the day, and that will only
exactly.
happen when the client kind of understands that you empathize with their situation. And often, more often than not, I don't think that creative people spend time in understanding the business versus understanding the brief versus understanding their idea. And it's very
Yeah,
lopsided towards the idea, and then they get upset that,
exactly.
oh, why is my idea rejected? It was so funny
So
and cool.
I
And I'm
have,
like,
it's true. You're absolutely bang on. I have seen it with many creative people. They get married to an idea. They don't take it very positively when you give feedback on that particular idea. They take it on themselves, that you are basically pointing out mistakes in them rather than talking about the
yeah,
idea. So that is something which these people, they need to work on. You can't just shove something down my throat, right? You
right.
have to discuss it. It'll be critiqued, it'll be evaluated properly, and then if we are on the same page, I would love to work on those ideas.
100%. As somebody who's a creative guy, I can tell you that we usually attach our ideas to our self-worth. And that's why when somebody
Yeah,
critiques the idea, you feel they're critiquing my entire ability,
yeah,
right? And when I
yeah,
was young, I used to always feel that, oh my god, this client has rejected all of these things, I suck and I am bad and I am useless. While, hey, your idea is not on brief for this situation, for
yeah,
this budget and timeline. So it's a very
yeah, yeah.
nuanced reason why somebody approves something.
True, true, true.
Now I think want to address the elephant in the room, right? For our network, which is AI.
Yeah.
People are saying it's going to take the job away. People are saying that AI is going to, kind of really eliminate labor in creative, etc., etc. Obviously, I think all smart people know that you have to embrace AI. But what I wanted to ask you is, are there any particular use cases in marketing which you feel that marketeers and creative people both should adopt, which have a definite use case even today?
I mentioned that we have a very good cross sell engine, and we generate roughly 50% of our revenue through cross sell. We have a propensity model, propensity algorithm, which is an machine learning based algorithm. I, so when I talking about AI, I'll not talk only about generative AI. I'll
Mm.
talk about the overall,
Sure.
ML and AI thing, and how can that be of any help. So investing in data, investing in the right data infrastructure, investing in right data teams can actually, immensely help you. Like it's helping us. We have this algorithm again, which is getting smarter day by day. We are able to identify, and I would say the accuracy is not 100%, but it's large enough to give us a decent ROI on, those communications. Identify when somebody would need a loan, or somebody would, churn a loan,
Mm.
uh, right? So that is something. The other thing is, while I would not suggest to employ AI to write your entire content, but AI can be a great, plus one to your content team.
Yeah.
You can, it's kind of a content co-pilot where you can, take help of AI in doing research, in identifying the right structure, right format. It can help you in figuring out, uh, the flow of the content and a lot of other things, and then you can probably just write it. Don't just ask AI to write blindly for your product. Use it as a help. Till now it was more of a flowchart based kind of a thing, that if somebody does this, do that, if doesn't do that, do that, etc., etc., etc. Is still that flowchart based approaches for cohorts.
Mm.
Now, thanks to AI, you can uh, bring your sample size down to one, right? I
Mm.
can customize it for Kavan and Sachin both at the same time.
Mm.
Right, so that is the big application of AI. While we honestly are not utilizing AI completely there, but we are, running some betas internally. We are working, and hopefully in coming times we'll be able to deploy AI there also, in, managing our marketing channels, optimizing the communication, as well as personalizing those communication for each and every one, rather than dividing our database into different cohorts. Probably we'll divide it into different individuals and have separate communication with each and every one, with separate channel, separate time. But it's we are not there yet.
Right. Right.
Hopefully we'll be there sometime soon. The other thing is, because we are in the business of selling financial products. Financial products are boring and a little complex,
Mm-hmm.
so a chatbot would be of great use for our
Mm-hmm.
consumers, right? So we are working there. We are training our bot. It'll soon be available to our consumers, where you can just, ask free flow questions, and it'll guide you in the right manner. So these are a few things which we are doing internally, and I believe it will help others as well.
Fantastic. I think you summed that up pretty well. I think personalization, conversational AI, and generally predictive algorithms is, I think, shaping the future of marketing. And I think for anybody operating in advertising and marketing, like, you need to keep your ear out. In fact, get your hands dirty, not just ear out, but get your
Yeah.
hands dirty on these tools. Everybody's giving this for free today. They're teaching it for free. They're giving tools for free. So if anybody comes and tells me I didn't get an opportunity, that's a bad answer. So I
No,
think,
yeah, true,
yeah.
true, true. So opportunities are there, lying there. There are hundreds of opportunities in the market, and there are, so these are the use cases which I feel there for my organization, my
Right.
requirements. There would be different use cases for you. There would be different use cases for someone else,
Correct.
right? If you can, think hard and figure out use cases, there will be a solution available for that. uh, you can just plug in there
Correct.
a lot of iteration would be needed. This somewhere I feel that, currently few people, they are getting onto this AI bandwagon just because of peer pressure, right?
Right.
Somebody is doing it, I am not doing it, what am I doing wrong, right? I have to do it,
Correct.
without realizing that first figure out what are you trying to solve,
Right.
and how are you trying to solve it. The second thing is getting the foundation right, getting the right data infrastructure, putting, sanitizing the data, putting it in the right structure, right framework, making it available to anyone, and then building a layer on top of that would help you, rather than just, buying anything, plug it. try using it, it will not solve anything, then they're
Correct.
discarding it, and 1 year down the line, going to the events and saying that AI doesn't work. It should not happen that way.
Well put, well put. I think, thanks a lot, Sachin, for all your insights. This, marks the end of our podcast. I believe you've been very judicious with your time. As a parting thought, do you have any singular advice you'd like to give any young marketeer who wants to be a CMO one day?
So first thing is, always keep consumer at the core. Think how would you react if you are that consumer to any particular communication, to any particular offer. Whenever you see an ad, just think, if it is directed to me, how am I feeling after watching it, after hearing it. And if you feel that you're feeling good, that means it's a good ad. If not, then how would you do it differently to make it worthwhile for yourself, right? If you'll start doing that for every communication, every piece, you'll see you'll start learning, or maybe you'll start feeling that consumer. And that feeling, that empathy is very critical for your career as a marketing person, or as a brand manager.
So that's our time, Sachin. Thank you so much. I hope you had fun in the podcast.
Thanks for having me here. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Awesome. And for everybody who's stuck along, thank you so much as well. If you'd like to hear another marketing leader like Sachin, please like, share, and subscribe. And another episode will come out very soon.